Thank you, Minister. For young families to succeed, childcare must be affordable, accessible, of high quality and sustainable. And I really welcome how you are committed, Minister, to ongoing learning and listening to providers and to parents and guardians. However, despite significant increases in funding, as well as the very welcome and ambitious First Five, Ireland has still and is one of the most underfunded childcare systems in Europe, failing to meet the EU average of UNICEF targets for investments, and we have one of the highest costs of childcare in the OECD, over half the average wage in Ireland. In the Early Years Staffing Survey report for 2021, 97% providers said they feel the impact of low pay and staff leaving the sector will have a negative impact on the provisions of services. More than 70% found it extremely difficult to recruit staff in the past 12 months. 42% of early years educators are actively looking for a job outside the sector, with 75% identifying low pay as the reason for leaving their profession. Providers and educators in 4,500 early years and after-school settings in Ireland stepped up during the pandemic, and the provision of quality care and education to children has been highlighted as a critical contributor to a functioning society and economy. We have to get this right going forward, Minister. I have met and engaged with stakeholders on this. I have met and listened to providers and parents and staff. This weekend I am meeting with more stakeholders in Carlow and Kilkenny to discuss the issues in advance of the budget 2022, and that is going to be crucial. They have told me in Ireland early years system, it isn't working for parents and it is also failing the educators. Essentially, underfunding of childcare has led to a lack of options for educators who leave the sector, providers who close their doors, and parents and guardians who cannot afford it.
Good evening, Ms. Kincorla, and thank the deputies for their questions. And look, it is a key priority for myself as Minister for Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth to improve the affordability, the accessibility and the quality of early learning and care, ELC, and school-age childcare, SAC. And historically, as we know, there's been low levels of investment in ELC and SAC in this country, though in the last 5 years we have seen a 141% increase in investment, and that stands now at 638 million per year. And this increase has funded a second year of the Early Childhood Care and Education Preschool Programme, ECHE. It's funded Access and Inclusion Model, or AIM, and it's enabled the introduction of the National Childcare Scheme, the NCS. And Deputy Murnane-O'Connor referred to First Five, the whole of government strategy for babies, young children and their families. And that was published in 2018, and it committed that by 2028 we'd have doubled our investment in ELC and SAC. And a key vehicle for ensuring that the significant investment delivers for children and the family will be the new funding model. And an expert group is leading on this work, and will include the development of appropriate mechanisms to fund services which will improve affordability, which will improve quality and improve sustainability, and will also address issues such as staff pay and controls on the fees paid by parents. And this expert group, it's undertaken very extensive research and consultation, and I expect to receive their recommendations in November of this year. And its work has been informed by an in-depth process of stakeholder engagement and consultation undertaken to capture the perspectives of parents, of those who work in the sector, providers and their representative groups. And included in the experts group's term of reference is a mandate to explore how greater public management of the sector, supported by greater public investment, can help deliver these policy objectives. And just refer to the draft guiding principles that were developed by the expert group itself. And this includes the statement: the funding model should be based on an acceptance that ELC and SAC is a public good. It should seek to support the delivery of this public value through the provision of high quality quality, affordable, accessible and sustainable ELC and SAC services. The funding model should make best use of the available public management tools, and I expect that this principle will very much inform the report of this group. And in recent months, I've met with representatives from the ELC and SAC sector to discuss, among other issues, the levels of funding in this sector. Those meetings have been really useful in orientating me and my department's plans. And in terms of Budget 2022, my officials and I have received and considered pre-budget submissions from a number of representative groups, and this will inform our budget bid. Both deputies raised the issue of pay, and I firmly believe that the level of pay in the sector does not reflect the value of the work that early learning and childcare practitioners do for children, for families and for society. And I'm doing all that is in my power to address this. As you know, the state is not the employer. The department doesn't set wage levels, but my department has provided a range of supports to support service providers to enable them provide better wage and working conditions, higher capitation for graduate payments, support for school-age childcare to make it more attractive. And last December, working in partnership with SITU and CSI IBEC, I began a short process investigating the potential of a joint labour committee and how that would support a better wage rate. We engaged Dr Kevin Duffy, the former chair of the Labour Court, and following that I wrote to Minister Damien English, and Minister English has now signed an establishment order for a JLC in the early years sector. I regard this as an extremely significant and welcome development, and I know that that has been welcomed by employers and workers in this sector.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Murnane-O'Connor.
Thank you, Minister, and I do want to welcome that because, as we have said, I mean, despite qualifications, most early years professionals are earning below the living wage, and you know that's of £12.40, and that's unacceptable. And I want to welcome the fact that you're speaking about a new funding model. But in this funding model, the plan, is there a clear career path for educators, a clear guide to supports for providers struggling to sustain businesses under significant administrations? Like if you look at inspections and you know what I mean, you have increased commercial rates, you have insurance costs. Like there's so much things there that we need to give back, give confidence to the child providers, give confidence to parents, give confidence to staff. And I can just ask you that is going to be so important. This is a vital sector and it must be supported. And I know that you are going to look for more funding from the Minister. I know I'm going to be speaking to Minister McGrath myself in the next few days, because the this budget for 2022 is going to be crucial. So I would ask, Minister, that I know how dedicated you are and I know how important this sector is to you, but we need to get the funding right. We need to make sure that going forward that this sector is not underfunded. Thank you.
And it is essential that we provide, as Deputy Murnane-O'Connor said, that pathway, and we have a workforce plan for staff, but it requires them to see that they will get a living wage as they move on up through their career. And for me, one of the most depressing things was talking to my own constituent, who I know well, a young woman who's just graduated from a third level institution and left after three months in the sector because the pay was so bad. We have to give people like her a future in this sector, and I believe the actions this government is taking will do that. Thank you.